please.
I know you're expressing some sense of optimism that the vote itself, even though it failed today, did lead to some policy change from the administration, and yet at the same time, this would mark the 5th war powers vote, either on the Caribbean boat strikes or Venezuela itself, that has now failed.
Yep.
Do you see this as a tool that is still possible to work in the future, given that, even if you're saying that you're going to continue to call in votes?
Here's my history, and Adam can talk about the history on the House side. So we would call this sort of the third big effort that led to some success. So in I think it was the Trump administration, there was a use of the War Powers Resolution to stop U.S. refueling of jets on the way to bomb in Yemen. And these were Saudi jets, but the U.S. was refueling them. And the administration was doing that without telling Congress. When we found out, we used the legislative history of the War Powers Resolution to say, actually, refueling somebody else's jets on the way to a bombing mission, that's the use of the U.S. military in hostilities. The administration said, no, it's not. We're not doing the bombing. It's somebody else. But they saw the legislative history, and even though we didn't win that motion, they quit doing the refueling. They backed off because they recognized this is cutting against our claim that we're not the pro-war guys. On the Soleimani strike, we got that resolution, no war against Iran, without a vote of Congress. We got through both houses. President Trump vetoed it. We couldn't override, but we noticed for the remainder of term 1, he backed off the bellicosity toward Iran. And on this one, we saw the president tweet within 12 hours, I called off the second invasion. Now, he said it was for some other reason other than the fact that we just handed him a loss. But calling off the invasion, doing these commitments, tepid as they are, that shows that this has vitality. Not that we're not going to get a veto-proof vote on any of these. Let me clue you into news that I'm sure is going to be shocking to you. We will not get a veto. Well, we might on Greenland, actually. But if they have to work it so hard to get their own people in line and give commitments, then this is something that I think we can continue to do. I mean, what was your perspective like over on the House side when we're doing these?
You know, I would really only add to what you said by pointing out that events will also be extremely important. It may be that within 24 hours, a resolution on Iran has sudden and immediate relevance. If you look at just the war powers votes on Venezuela, when it was a campaign of sinking ships and killing people on board, that was one thing, and we had more of our colleagues willing to say they can continue doing that without our authorizing it. That was also a time when they were making the argument, this is not about regime change, we're not going to engage in regime change, and to the degree members accepted that argument, that might have been part of their calculus, then all of a sudden we have boots on the ground and we're changing part of the regime. That's, I think, probably the most significant reason why the vote succeeded last week. So it may depend on, you know, what further military action takes place in Venezuela or elsewhere, but I'm in complete agreement with what Tim said, and I think the atrophying of a muscle is a perfect analogy. If we don't exercise this power, we will lose it, and even with the unsuccessful votes, we are exercising this power. We are forcing accountability on it for ourselves and our colleagues. I think that's exactly what we need to do, and if they weren't so concerned about a vote that they have the power to veto, they wouldn't have felt the necessity of so deeply intervening to try to stop the debate